If you want to get in contact with me, the best way to do it is on Instagram. If you just want to say what up, if you want to tell me you love my videos, you can tell me you hate my videos, but the best way to do that is on Instagram. Peace, y'all. Jonny Fastlane here. So, Kodak Black gets into a fight in jail, and Lil Mosey disses Lil Tecca. Plus, Big U sets Wack 100 straight. Let's talk hip-hop. So reports are coming out that Kodak Black got into a fight or like an altercation like in prison, right? The headlines, you know, on TMZ or whatever is like Kodak Black involved in prison fight, you know what I mean? So that's not really what happened, right? So the whole situation is, first of all, Kodak Black is not in prison, right? He's in jail, and prison and jail are two different things, right? Prison is when you get your sentence, whatever it is. If it's over a year, then you're gonna go to prison, right? And prison is usually like upstate or like in the middle of nowhere. You got to take a boat and a moat and a bus and a truck and a train to get to, you know, your relatives in a prison if you're trying to visit them, right? Prison is for people who have over a year of time to be locked up, whether it's, you know, a year and a day or 25 years. If it's, you know, 2 years to 7 years or 10 years or 5 years, your ass is going to prison, right? Jail, on the other hand, is local. It's a little bit closer to the city or whatever community or town or whatever that it's in. And jail, on the other hand, is for people who have to be locked up to a year or less, right? So if you get like 6 months, you know, locked up, you'll be in jail. Not prison, you'll be in jail, right? Also, jail is where people who are awaiting their sentence or awaiting trial, who they may be going to prison, but they don't know how long they're going to prison yet, so they have them in jail, right? Kodak Black pled guilty to some gun charges for falsifying some documents when they arrested him at Rolling Loud, so he's waiting on a sentence in jail right now, and then he will probably go to prison if the sentence is over a year, right? So the whole situation is Kodak Black was involved in a fight in jail, not prison, but in jail, right? So also they're saying that, you know, one of the security guards is hurt. He's in the hospital right now, and that it's not, you know, confirmed whether or not Kodak Black is one of the people who was involved in a fight, or if he was just like around and tried to jump in and break it up, if it was a big riot, if he was just one of like 10 people involved in a fight, or whatever the case may be, right? Nobody knows at this time. Well, people know. I'm sure that the record label knows, I'm sure that Kodak's people know, but they're not giving out all that information, right? And so usually how it works is that if there's a big thing going on and the rapper was not involved, but he was around, then his people, his publicists and everybody are gonna come out and say, hey, here's exactly what happened. Our client or our rapper was not anywhere near it, but he did see it, he was a witness, blah, 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 right? Because they're not telling us that he was around and that he did see it, and they're kind of being hush-hush and the details aren't really available, that kind of lets me know that Kodak Black had something to do with it, right? I saw somewhere that maybe he might get a few extra charges for, you know, injuring this officer or whatever the case may be, but we don't know yet because we don't know, like I say, the extent to the officer's injuries or whatever the details are, right? Or if he was fighting with another inmate and then the officer got involved, we don't know what happened, right? The last that we heard from Kodak Black, he was doing okay, right? And then a little bit before that, he wasn't doing too okay when he was dissing Young Miami over the phone, saying that he'll punch her in the stomach. That was when she was pregnant. She had the baby by now, but you know, Kodak Black is up and down, man, and to me he really reminds me of like the old dirty bastard of like 2019, right, where he's very unpredictable and a little crazy, right? But free Kodak, man. Like I want him to get out of jail, but that's what's going on right now with him. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments.
Alright, so hold on, let me pin this.
What about Soda?
Alright, so you said you dropping a song Tecca. Fuck Tecca. What is you saying? Don't ever bring his name up in my life one more time. For his head.
Alright, so that was Lil Mosey, right? And for y'all that don't know, yo, Lil Mosey is like this little rapper, man. He's 17 years old. He's from Seattle, Washington, right? And I don't really know why Lil Mosey is trying to act all gangster like, fuck Tecca, right? He's dissing Lil Tecca, right? And also Lil Tecca is also 17 years old, and he's from Queens, New York, right? Lil Tecca be dancing around. He's the one that has the song Ransom or whatever like that, right? But anyway, so why is Lil Mosey saying fuck Tecca, right? So somebody, a fan, you know, while Lil Mosey was on live, says, oh, okay, yeah, you and Mosey are doing a song together, right? And he goes, nah, fuck, you and Tecca are doing a song together. He goes, fuck Tecca. Don't ever bring his name up on my live again, right? And the whole situation is, I guess like a couple weeks ago, back on 10/17, Mosey dropped a freestyle on his live, right? And I think this is why he's even beefing with Lil Tecca, because before this, it was like him and Lil Tecca were cool, or at least cordial, because they didn't have really no beef, right? But the freestyle that Lil Mosey was spitting, basically he said, he was dissing a nerd, right? He didn't say anybody's name, but when you think of like nerd rappers, you kind of do think of Lil Tecca. And I'm not saying Tecca is a nerd or anything like that, but he is like nerd-like, right? Anyway, so Lil Mosey goes, he's taking his glasses off. That nigga a nerd. Fucking liar, I put him in the dirt. I say it 2 times, he's stealing my rhyme. So basically, Lil Mosey feels like Lil Tecca is stealing his flow, is stealing like his swag, or whatever the case may be, right? And they're both the same age. Even though one's from New York and one's all the way in Seattle, you know, they're kind of the same age, they have the same fan base, so I could understand it, right? The whole thing is that Lil Mosey really is pussy, because name one song from Lil Mosey, right? At least Lil Tecca has a song that actually broke a record, right? It's been #1 for the longest song ever to be #1 on SoundCloud, Ransom, right? Just beat out 21 Savage and Post Malone Rockstar, right, on SoundCloud, right? So you know Lil Tecca, right? Meanwhile, name a song from Lil Mosey. I mean, I'll wait. You feel me? The first time I ever heard of Lil Mosey was like last year, maybe a year ago now, when he got robbed, right? It was like, yo, Lil Mosey got robbed, Lil Mosey got robbed. And he got robbed on camera, him and his whole crew, right? And I'm like, who's Lil Mosey? And then I saw that he got robbed, and then I talked about it. Then Lil Mosey became XXL Freshman 2019 this year, where he spit like a little freestyle or whatever like that, but his freestyle was also trash, right? I don't think that Lil Mosey's gonna be around all that long, and Lil Tecca seems like he will be, right? So anyway, Lil Tecca kind of subliminally responds to this whole situation with Lil Mosey by posting up this picture right here, 5 Guys, Burgers and Fries, right? So basically he's like, yo, if you want beef, then go to 5 Guys, right? So he's kind of laughing it off and clowning Lil Mosey as like, you know what, I'm not even stressing this right now, all this drama and all this beef, right? But then Lil Tecca did perform last night, and his fans were screaming, fuck Mosey.
Fuck Lil Mosey! Fuck Mosey! Fuck Lil Mosey! Fuck Lil Mosey! Fuck 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 Mosey! That's what we doing here.
I mean, honestly, this is the biggest publicity that Lil Mosey ever had, right? So whereas nobody knows any music from him, now we know that he's beefing with Lil Tecca, right? But he better follow this up with some music, because, dog, you about to fall off, just like your man's Lil Xan, right? But anyway, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments down below.
And it's a harsh reality, but we stepping out of civilization into the jungle of gangbanging. City cuz, the ledge gun man, right? When it comes to the rules of engagement of gangbangers, he did what he was supposed to do when another gangbanger calls you a faggot, a pedophile, or a snitch. You're supposed to handle your business. And can't nobody say that's wrong.
So that was Wack 100, right? And basically he said, to sum it up, right? He was talking about Shitty Cuz, aka Eric Holder, right? and he was talking about Nipsey Hussle, and basically he was saying that Eric Holder or Shitty Cuz is right? And he said, I don't think that Wack 100 was necessarily dissing Nipsey Hussle, right? And for y'all that don't know, I mean, you should know by now, Wack 100 is the game's manager. He's also Ray J's manager and Blueface's manager too, right? But he's just not like a manager that just chills and minds his business and does, management work, right? He's actually a whole personality himself, right? He's actually in the spotlight, and he's an OG, triple OG, big blood Pyru, right? So he's talking on California gang politics, and he's like, Nipsey Hussle's a crip, right? So is Shitty Cuz, and he's like, if somebody tries to say that you are a rat or a snitch or a thief or that you gay or something like that, and if you abide by these gang rules, and if you sign up for this gang shit, whether you are a crip that we love, like a Nipsey, that, Shitty Cuz did the right thing because he followed protocol. He was upset that Nipsey Hussle pulled him over to the side and said, bro, I heard you were snitching. If you're not snitching, come back with the paperwork. And then Shitty Cuz came back with the fire instead and killed Nipsey Hussle. And he said, hey, that's the way it goes in gang politics. Right now, hip hop, we love this rapper Nipsey Hussle, but this is how it goes in gang politics, because meanwhile, Nipsey Hussle was a rapper, he was also a gang member, right? And I get all that, right? So Big U, though, is an OG, triple O, quadruple OG out there in California, and Big U was the one that actually discovered Nipsey Hussle, right, and put him on, right? Big U was in the community and was doing a lot of things with Nipsey Hussle to try to stop gang violence, to try to stop police from killing and beating up unarmed black people, to kind of bring, the hoods together, the 50s and the 60s, philanthropy, black-owned businesses, owning your own music and your masters, independence. Nipsey Hussle and Big U were both preaching and teaching all these things, and they lived by this stuff too. I mean, not lived in the sense of Big U, because Big U is still around, right? He's gonna carry on Nipsey Hussle's legacy forever. The marathon continues, right? So the whole situation is, though, that, I guess Wack 100 feels like, hey, even though a lot of people love, Nipsey Hussle, it is what it is, right? But my whole thing is that how could Wack 100 sit down and say something that sounds so crazy and so ignorant when, you don't get any cool points for mowing down somebody that was trying to change what was going on in the hood. You don't get any cool point. I mean, I feel like, Nipsey, Shitty Cuz didn't know how valuable Nipsey Hussle was to the movement, right? To the culture, to gangs, right? Not because he was gangbanging, but because he's been through that and he could speak to that, right? If people, kids are coming up, you 16, 17 years old, you gangbanging, you lit, right? Because you on, right? But this is not the way. Do they want to hear somebody say, hey, excuse me, you shouldn't be gangbanging? Or would they hear it from a Nipsey Hussle, right? Nipsey Hussle could change lives. Nipsey Hussle could save lives, right? And because this dude, Shitty Cuz, just like took him out in the blink of an eye because Nipsey Hussle was being a real nigga by saying, yo, bro, you shouldn't be around here because I heard you was telling. Now, we don't have that anymore, right? And it's not cool either way you look at it, right? I don't care about gang politics. I don't care about anything like that, because you took a valuable staple out of the mix who was really trying to change and do stuff, right? And for you to be like, oh, hey, well, that's just gang politics, is very ignorant, and it kind of shows that, like, you're really not growing up, right? That you're really still on some bullshit, right? Which is weird and strange to me, because Wack 100 seems like a very smart nigga, right? But then again, I think sometimes Wack 100 be saying things just for shock value and for clout. But it's not like, and yes, he does do a lot of things for shock value and in the public space, like, he was dissing YG, he said, fuck YG, he ain't no real Pyru anyway, right? He said, oh, fuck Mike Tyson, right? He said he got into a physical fight with Mike Tyson, whatever the case may be, right? He even said, fuck Blueface, and he's Blueface's manager, right? Which is insane, right? But this is not that, because Wack 100 didn't just like go on live or, you know, go on an interview and talk all this stuff about Nipsey Hussle and shit, because this is a recorded phone call. So it seems like Wack 100 was saying this in the privacy of his own, you know, home or wherever he was, talking to somebody that he trusted, and that person recorded the phone call and then released it, right? So it doesn't seem like he's doing this for clout. It seems like this is really what Wack 100 feels, right? But anyway, so Big U got on the phone with Wack 100 and was like, bro, you're wildin', right? So Wack 100 responds, and he's like, okay, you guys win. Big U called me and scolded me. I'll be quiet now, right? And then in the caption, he says, I'm back in the game room watching TV. You guys win. I'm sorry. So he does apologize. He's humble about it. He says you win. He says Big U called him, and that, you know, he's just gonna be quiet, and he's back in the game room watching TV, which I guess is a jail reference to be like, okay, y'all fucked me up. Now I'm just back in the game room watching TV. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy. Let me know what y'all think about this and everything else in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Follow me at Jonny Fastlane on Instagram, and y'all already know what to do. Peace.